like to know what brought you into law enforcement, Jay?
Well, law enforcement to me was something that I always wanted to do from the time I was a kid. And after I served my tour in the military, I came out, that's the first thing I did was take the exam to go in law enforcement. And I've basically been there ever since. It's a lifelong ambition, a lifelong career.
And one other aspect that you have, I think that a lot of sheriffs don't have, that you've also been a legislator.
Yes, when I retired, I had been a member of the city council in La Mesa, and I ran for the state legislature, and I spent 6 years as a member of the California State Assembly.
What I think is interesting about that is I feel as a sheriff, being that you need to know law and the enforcement of that law, which you also have a degree in public administration, and being a legislature, I think that makes you fairly qualified to be our sheriff in San Diego.
Well, I appreciate that, and being a sheriff, you have to understand you're the highest ranking law enforcement official, and you're elected by the people, so you have to understand how to combat bad laws, how to make sure good laws are enacted, and so I've had all the experience of both enforcing the law and writing bills and fighting against bad bills. So it's a good bit of experience to have for it.
Now, when you look at yourself as being our sheriff of San Diego County, how do you see your role as being sheriff?
I think the sheriff should remember the fact that he works for the people. And I think the sheriff has got to also understand that in doing that, that he has to respect and know the highest law of the land, which is the Constitution.
Correct, yes.
And he has to be loyal to that and make sure that it's not trampled on, nor is it ignored. And I think if the sheriff pays attention to the Constitution and respects it and enforces it, then he will be a sheriff that the people will respect and admire.
Now, I know that you're running against 3 other declared candidates. What sets you apart from the other candidates that are running for the office of sheriff?
Quite frankly, what sets me apart is experience, for one thing. I have more experience in law enforcement than any of them do, and I'm talking about local law enforcement. And I think also the fact that my feeling on the Constitution, you know, a very famous sheriff once said, Richard Mack, who was from Arizona, once said it's amazing the number of rights that are guaranteed to us in the Constitution.
That's right.
But have had strings and attachments placed on them by the local and state governments, and we want to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yes, and also along with that, one of your campaign slogan is for a safer tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
and that struck me pretty well. I'm a father myself. I have 2 children, and I think about what their future brings. What are you going to do to help ensure my children's future, and maybe even my parents, in creating a safer tomorrow?
Well, you know, when I was a kid, we didn't worry about locking our doors or leaving the keys in the cars. You drive down the neighborhood now, and you see bars on windows and nothing but signs that say protected by this alarm company or that alarm company. And we have done here is about 30% of the prisoners in our state prison are in America illegally.
Oh boy!
And that doesn't mean they're just from Mexico. That means they're
Right.
from all over the world. You can Google Taliban in America or Hamas in America or South American gangs in America, and you'll find that we are washed with people that are here illegally, and we turn our back on them. And people are breaking into our borders, and this has to be stopped. If 30% of the people in our prisons are there, and they're as a result of being up here illegally and committing felonies, then we've got to stop that. Immediately that says that you're going to have 30% of the people that are committing crimes aren't going to be there.
Correct, yes.
So we've got to work with the feds and shut our border down, for one thing. We've got to make sure that we use things, the law, as a tool as it was designed. The law is not all black and white. There's a lot of gray in there, and you can accomplish a lot and spend less money and do more by simply using the law in a way to make sure people want to comply with it. And there's so many things we can do with regards to slowing crime and shutting crime down. if we'll get out and do it. We got to get away from being a bureaucracy of law enforcement
Right.
to being law enforcement officers.
Well, I noticed on your website there was quite a few endorsements, and I was very impressed by that. And one of the endorsements I saw was Sheriff Joe Arpaio.
Yes.
And Sheriff Joe Arpaio, he very much protects the Maricopa County in the state of Arizona. And one of the things that he's enacted is something called tent cities. And it's a mobile jailing system for some of the criminals that he has in that county. And I was wondering, have you worked with Joe have you learned some things from Joe Arpaio and maybe what you might institute here in San Diego?
Joe Arpaio really is a living legend, mainly because he's willing to ask the question, why not, and not always make the excuse of why I can't. And I have visited him on several occasions. I've been through his jails.
Yes.
One thing people don't understand is that all those people in those 10 jails have voluntarily gone there. And that can easily be done here. Like I said before, we've got to cut the cost of law enforcement, cut the expense, but at the very same time increase the efficiency. And that can be done, and it's being shown it can be done easily by him. It's amazing. The really great sheriffs seem to all be coming from Arizona. Richard Mack and Joe Arpaio, two of the greatest ever.
Well, another thing that's a little bit different about the county of San Diego, and maybe you have to work a little bit differently, but from my understanding that the city of San Diego and the county of the sheriff's office in San Diego tend to share jointly some of the jurisdiction. How does that affect your role as sheriff for San Diego County?
Well, I wouldn't say they share jurisdictions. There is a cooperative effort between the two of them. Normally, jurisdictions are pretty well respected back and forth.
All right.
And so if one agency has an asset that the other one doesn't, and it's needed, it's normally loaned without any problem at all. So I would say it's more cooperative than jointly going on.
Now, one thing I see as well is I see you as a great family man, as a great patriot to the United States of America, and when all is said and done, how do you see yourself? How do you see your legacy to both personally and to your family, and actually the people that you oversee, because you're taken upon positions that protect our citizenry. How do you look at your legacy when all is said and done?
When all is said and done, I would like my grandboys to remember me, that he was a strong Christian. He believed in God, he believed in his country, and believed in the Constitution, which is the law of the land, and he believed in family. And if you believe in all of those, then you have to believe in making sure that people are safe. And
that's right.
So I like them to know that when everybody said no, that I should have said yes because it was the right thing to do. And everybody said yes, I should have said no because it was the right thing to do. In other words, like them to remember that I did what I knew was the right thing to do, regardless of what others might think.
I recall when I was young, my dad said, sometimes the right things can be convenient, sometimes the right things can be inconvenient. He said, what determines your person is doing the right things, even though it's inconvenient for you. Mm-hmm. And I'm very grateful that we had this interview. And
Thank you.
I believe I'm looking at the next sheriff of San Diego County.
Well, thank you very much. God willing.